Hello, I'm Chris Flisher, and welcome to Turning of the Wheel, an intelligent, lively discussion on astrology, art, and adventure. Timing is everything, and as the great wheel turns, we are best prepared when we are best informed. Join me as I explore the current planetary alignments and offer insights for coping with change. Educational, informative, enlightening, the Turning of the Wheel is a welcome pause in your daily swirl of constant change. Through intelligent discourse, inspired guests, and educational segments, I will help to enlighten your knowledge of astrology and guide you to accept change as the great wheel of life turns. Call in with your questions and speak with some of the greatest visionaries in the time-tested practice of astrology. Turning of the Wheel, Astrology, Art, and Adventure with Chris Flisher, each week on Turning of the Wheel podcast. Hello and welcome to Turning of the Wheel. My name is Chris Flisher. As you know, this is a show about astrology, art, and spiritual adventure. I got a very special guest on today, something which I think is fascinating, something I've always wanted to do myself, but somebody beat me to the punch, and that's my next guest. His name is Paul Starr, which of course makes great sense for a cosmic show, to have a name like that. I wonder if he's any relation to Ringo. But anyway, he has created a fabulous new thing called Zodiac War, which is a board game which anybody who loves astrology will certainly enjoy. So, without any further ado, let's get him on. Welcome to the show, Paul. It's great to have you on.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for inviting me.
Sure. What gave you the idea for this great idea?
Well, I guess it's a convergence of various ideas. I've always been a board gamer, even from being a kid. And I've always wanted to design a board game. But I've always been interested in astrology as well. From around about my teenage years, I enjoyed reading horoscopes. I bought various books. I was particularly interested in planets and the constellations. So when I was, it was about 5 years ago, I started getting addicted to a crowdfunding site called Kickstarter. And I backed a game that had a rotating board. And I bought it. And I received it, and I was disappointed in it. And I thought there must be a better way of designing a rotating board. And that's when instantly I thought of the Zodiac wheel.
Perfect, yeah.
I thought, yeah. And I thought of what I knew was that star signs align with, are aligned with planets and elements. And I thought 3 rings on a board, you turn the board to align those 3 components of astrology, basic astrology.
Right.
So that's where the idea came from, and I started making little circles and turning them, and gradually built up on that idea.
So before we get started, where do people find out this? They go to Kickstarter, or they just do a Google on Zodiac War?
Yeah, if you want to find the game, you would go to kickstarter.com and search for Zodiac War, 2 words. Yeah. And it'll pop up.
I've always been fascinated with board games as well. I don't know, did you ever know the name, play the game Clue when you were younger?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Where Mrs. White in the kitchen with a pipe or whatever. I always thought that would translate well to astrology, because you got 3 elements there too. You got planets, signs, and positions. So, but anyway, that's another story. If that's your next project. We can work on that.
Yeah.
We can work on that together, maybe. Anyway, it's fascinating. What sort of feedback have you gotten from people about the game?
Generally, it's been good. I first started designing it in October 2016, and I attended a conference in February 2017, and I had a fairly basic board. It doesn't have the art it does nowadays. And I played the game with people, and they really loved it. So that kept me going. It's taken a few years to bring all the elements of it together.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, yeah. And the other idea I had while I was designing it is, how do I move the board? And I decided, if I'm going to use cards, I could use tarot cards.
Absolutely.
Because, of course, there's a synergy between astrology and tarot.
There sure is.
So it just seemed to make sense.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. I was fascinated. When I first saw it, I said, oh my gosh, thank God somebody's done this. I was so excited about it. That's why I contacted you. I really wanted to find a way to make astrology into a learning experience as well as a fun experience. And this seems to be the best of both.
Yeah. What I've also found, you asked what do people think of it. I've found that not everybody knows about astrology.
Right.
And not everybody plays board games.
Right.
So this was a challenge from the beginning, because I immediately found out that people who were playing the game, who wanted to play the game, knew nothing about astrology. So it immediately taught them some of the very basics. But
it's a great way to learn astrology, I think.
Yeah. And there's another layer to it in my game. I have cards called Zodiac cards that have the planets on them, and those cards move the planets. So, for example, if you draw, say, Pluto, then Pluto moves to your sign.
I see.
And sorry?
I see, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I also decided to do is try and incorporate the value of the planets in terms of astrology, by using the exaltation, the domicile, fall, and detriment, and I built those into the cards as well. So there's a sort of like, when you draw the Zodiac cards, there's a sort of fun interaction where every player looks to see how that particular planet has affected them on that turn. Was it fall, or am I exalted? Have I got something good out of this planet?
And we all, those of us who do understand astrology and practice it on a regular basis, know that certain planets carry certain weight and they represent certain things. So if you do throw the Pluto dice or pull the Pluto card, you're in for something major to happen.
Yes, and every card also has a little bonus on it, where I've tried to make, within the rules, a little bonus that's consistent with the meaning of that planet.
I see. And so how do you win the game? You have to get...
Yeah, to win the game, first of all, you have to align the board so that you have all three components of your sign aligned on the board.
So it is personal. You have to know your own personal chart.
No, the signs are on player boards, and you can choose to play any sign you like.
I see.
And each of the player boards give the player the guidance as to, this is your constellation, this is your planet, this is your element. And you are then manipulating the board to match what you have on your player board. So you can play your own sign, of course, or you could play somebody else's.
Do you find that certain signs do better than others?
Maybe certain personality types do.
Right, personality.
But I've tried to design it so that it's balanced. Each sign has similar capabilities within the game.
Mm-hmm.
But each sign also has a little side power based on their personality. For example, Cancer can protect itself with its shell. So if somebody tries to harm Cancer, it can withdraw into its shell. And Leo, being more of a leader, he can attract followers to himself. He can grow the followers just by being Leo and his charisma. It's that sort of thing.
So it's kind of like a psychological thriller at the same time, because you've got all these personality types, the attributes that they have, and the characteristics that they express, and you work your way through this until somebody finally wins, right?
Yeah, so as I was saying, the way you win is you align the planet with the sign and the element. Once you've got that, and you have enough followers to buy a star crystal. So if you have enough followers, you can use those followers to buy a star crystal, and that illuminates your constellation. So the objective of the game is to make your constellation brighter than the other signs.
So you win by gathering more star crystals.
Correct. When you have 3 star crystals, you win the game.
Does anyone?
You can only buy star crystals with a perfect alignment.
I see. Does anybody? It's fascinating. I love the idea. Does any one sign win more than others?
I don't think so. There's a lot of variations in the gameplay. It's not just the sign that influences how you play. Each player plays differently based on how they would normally play. Some people are more ruthless, some people are more imaginative, so you see different strategies develop depending on the personalities that.
So that's interesting. So the strategies that develop, are they representative typically of the sign of the person who's playing that?
It's a bit of both. I mean, of course, every individual has their own personality.
Right.
And they will play the way that they want to play. But in addition, they can be empowered by the powers within the game.
And luck, right?
And luck, yeah. So if you're playing a particular sign, you would have that power in addition to the way you want to strategize your gameplay.
I see.
And then as you draw tarot cards, the major arcana have very special abilities that are consistent with a tarot deck. When you're reading a tarot deck, I've tried to design the powers of the major arcana to be consistent with that. So, you collect these cards and you play them to your advantage.
Is it fairly easy game to learn?
Yes. I reckon it takes no more than 10 minutes to learn the rules.
Oh, that's great.
It's played in 5 phases, and once you familiarize yourself with those 5 phases, you understand the game.
Yeah. Would you call this a war between the signs, or is that just a arbitrary name you came up with?
Yeah, it just sounded cool to me. I have had a little bit of pushback on the word war. A lot of astrology fans are pretty spiritual. They like harmony and peace.
Right.
So the word war did turn some people off, but in reality, it is a board game. You are competing, and therefore I thought the word war was appropriate. You are playing to win. Yeah.
Right. And that's great. I have not played it yet, because I haven't had just got it the other day. But I have a very large extended family, and almost every sign is represented. So I'm sure we're going to have a good time with this.
Yeah, I had an email from your wife earlier,
right?
And she said exactly that. She said you have an assortment of signs within your family, so you'll get a nice spread when you're playing the game.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll create some problems. Yeah. Not some problems, but it'll definitely create some laughs for all of us. Everybody knows I'm an astrologer, so they always ask me questions about this, and so this is going to be a great way to do that. I want to let people know that, again, now how I found out about it was I found out about you through Facebook, but you can go to Kickstarter.com and look up Zodiac, or you can just Google Zodiac War to find how to get the game. I heartily encourage anybody who's involved with astrology or enjoys astrology to do it. It's a great way for kids to learn astrology and what it means, even if they just get the basic elements and sort of the commonalities between the certain signs. That'll be enough for people to get started. I think it's going to be a great way to sort of jumpstart, or I should say kickstart, people's interest in astrology, which is, I think is great. And I hope to be able
That's my plan, yeah. When I first thought of this, I thought this could be educational.
Very much so.
Yeah, there are people who haven't even heard of astrology, and there are people who have heard of it, of course, but don't understand anything about it.
Right.
So
it's a very complicated science and art, I think. That's what I call it. I call it a science and an art. Because it really has a scientific quality to it, but it also has an artistic, interpretive quality to it, which I think is the art.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by astrology. I think it's so rich.
It's amazing. It's so hard to explain how it works, but it does work. It's just incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think people will have a good time with this. It'll be a great thing to do. And I think you should get yourself involved in the astrology conventions that happen around the country. And I think you'll be a big hit doing that too. So.
Yeah, you've seen what the game looks like. The art is really nice. So when I make this, it's already funded on Kickstarter.
Good.
But I am looking for more backers because I can make a better game with more backers. So I'm hoping that it will look spectacular when it's on the shelves.
Oh, I think it will. And I think it's a great learning tool for people. I could even see this being used in schools because it's very, psychology, astrology is very closely aligned with psychology, so it really has a great way of dovetailing with that, I think.
Yes.
So it'd be fun to see that happen. I really wish you great success with this. This is a fascinating subject. By the way, what's your sign?
I'm a Leo.
You're a Leo. Okay, well, no wonder you did this.
In fact, I'm a Leo with Leo rising.
Wow. This was in your cards for sure. Well, I'm an Aries with a Virgo rising, and I want to win. So.
Me too. So we'll be good competitors.
Good competitors, yeah. I think it's a really fascinating thing. I almost think you could take this into a digital format too at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I need to work out how to do the rotating board on the digital platforms.
Well, if you were able to get it into, say, a digital format on an Apple or an iPad, and if people had the same tools, they could play it, virtually in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of potential there. Again, if you want to find this game, which I totally encourage you to do, I would Google it and Google either Kickstarter.com and look up Zodiac, or just Google Zodiac War, and you'll find that you can join in on the Kickstarter program there and get some momentum on this thing, because this has got great potential for understanding astrology. I think people who have children would love it. I think people who have families would love it because it's going to bring a real, sense of competition to the family, which would be fun to have. And it helps people learn what astrology is all about. It's not just crazy stuff. It's really got a lot to offer, astrology does. I've been fascinated with it forever. I've been practicing it forever, but I've been fascinated with it forever. I don't quite understand why. I've always remained a skeptic, just because it's like, this is so hard to believe. But despite that, I still look at my charts every day. I'm drawn to it every day, so I think it's fascinating. I'm so glad somebody...
Yeah, those charts. I'm sorry.
I'm so glad somebody came up with it. I'm glad you've come up with this finally, because this is a great way for me to teach my kids how to more about astrology and stuff like that. So I'm really encouraged by it. And so people can order it, and then it gets shipped out from your Kickstarter program.
Yeah, the way Kickstarter works is people say they want a product, and then they give you money to make it, and it's called crowdfunding.
Right.
So you collect the money from hundreds of people.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, I have over 600 backers so far.
That's great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
601.
Yeah. And you use that money in order to make the game. So then I would contract with a factory, make the game, and then distribute it to all the backers that signed up on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be the first people to ever own the game.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating. It's a great, great project. I'm really glad you took it on because I think it's long overdue. As I said, I had an idea 10, 15 years ago about fashioning a game around the same idea as Clue. And you eventually would boil down to what you'd find the person's sign, the rising sign, the element, and all that stuff as a result of going through the process. But that's for another day. Anyway, it's a great educational tool, I think.
Yeah. A lot of people know their sign. Yeah, they know which sun sign they are.
Right.
They know when they were born, and they know which astrological sign they were born under. But
98%,
the rest of it...
98% of the people in the world may not believe in astrology, but they all know their sign.
Exactly. So this just adds a couple more layers to that. This will teach people what a planet is, what their ruling planet is, and what their element is. And it'll teach them a little bit about exaltation and fall and things like that. And also a little bit about tarot. It'll teach them a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, both of these are really this is a game for our time because the generations that are coming up are turning to astrology more and more. You can see it on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, and there's a lot of podcasts out there and websites and books about astrology, but it really needs to have something like this to sort of kickstart. So the astrology community owes you a real tip of the hat. And
well, I owe them a bit real tip of the hat because they've been very supportive. This would never have got this far if it wasn't for the astrology community.
I would contact the NCGR and see if they're interested in helping out with this because it's something that really is a great educational tool.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And there's other organizations too. There's one called ISAR, ISAR. These are big astrological communities who hold, conventions every year, which I go to, and people set up booths and sell their products, their books, or whatever. But I think it's fantastic.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So again, folks, go to Kickstarter.com and enter in Zodiac, or just Google Zodiac War and see if you can get engaged in the Kickstarter program there. It's really a lot of fun. As I said, I haven't played it yet. Maybe I'll get you back on once I play the game, and hopefully I win. And we'll have more in-depth questions for you. But in the meantime, I wanted to get it out there so people knew it was there because I think it's a fascinating idea.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're talking today with Paul Starr, Starr, who is the brainchild behind a new game for everyone called Zodiac War. It's a fascinating way to understand astrology, to teach astrology to children, to bring families together to play a great game and be a little competitive based on their personality type, which I think is just a phenomenon of being a human being. So it's wonderful. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. We're taking a quick break here for commercials. We'll come back and we'll continue our subject with our topic with Paul Starr. In the meantime, Kickstarter.com, Zodiac, or Zodiac War, Google Zodiac War, and let's help this guy get this game off the ground, folks, okay? So we'll return in a few minutes. All right, Paul, and we'll just hang in there. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
What is your destiny? Where are you going? What is your real purpose? Do you know? Do you want to know? Of course you do. It's your duty to yourself. We are all here for a reason, and we all have great potential. Discover all of this and more with a professional astrology reading. My name is Chris Flisher, and I can help you. Discover your strengths and work on your weaknesses, and live your life to its fullest capacity. Based on your birthday, birthplace, and birth time, an authentic astrology reading will allow you to live your life to the fullest and reveal your true purpose. Only real astrology can give you real information. It is your destiny, and it is your path. Write me at chris@chrisflisher.com and book a reading today, or call me at 978 978-393-1036. That's 978-393-1036. www.chrisflisher.com.
Astrology is the science of spirit, and it can serve as an invaluable aid in making the difficult choices in life and seeking truth in all the directions we choose. It holds the potential to allow each of us to evolve to our highest potential. It is the logic of the universe, the code of existence, and the pathway to true wisdom. It is our duty to draw from it the instructions for our lives and to live them to our fullest potential. As the great wheel turns, we are best prepared when we are best informed.
As the world shrinks and our barriers come down, diverse cultures are striving for harmony, balance, and peace. To ease the transition, we need to expand with color, light, and tolerance. Now, you can become a global citizen and embrace the color and clear spirit with the divine artwork of the mandala. Mandalas are a timeless artistic offering for creating unity, harmony, and peace. My name is Chris Flisher, and I've spent years creating mandalas, and they are now available online at www.turningofthewheel.com. Come and experience the world of color, form, and function with t-shirts, coffee mugs, note cards, and limited edition prints. These vibrant, lively paintings and products express optimism, oneness, and spiritual balance for all who use them. www.turningofthewheel.com. That's www.turningofthewheel.com. And enter a world of possibility and color.
Okay, welcome back to Turning of the Wheel. My name is Chris Flisher. My guest today is Paul Starr, S-T-A-R-R. And that is no coincidence. That is his name. It does have a cosmic linkage to it. But he is the brainchild and inventor and creator of a new game, which is I encourage anybody who's into astrology to purchase and to support, called Zodiac War. It's a fascinating combination of elements, planets, signs, and all the other pieces that go with astrology. And it comes out into a very competitive, fun game for all ages. Well, not all ages, ages 8 and above, right, probably?
Well, nowadays kids are a lot more intelligent, I think. Not necessarily intelligent, but they seem to be more capable of
absorbing this
playing
stuff.
games.
Yeah, I think that there's. I mean, I don't want to sound like an old man, but I am. But the millennial generation is really interested in this because a lot of them are doing, they're finding their mates and their partners based on the astrology alignments, and that really does work. I mean, when it comes to compatibility, nothing works like astrology. If you have 2 air signs together or 2 fire signs together or fire and air together, you'll see the sparks fly. So this is a great way to sort of drill down and get to know more about it. Again, the name of the game is Zodiac War. And I'm going to put a link on my website when I get around to it that links back to you and get that started because it really is a fascinating subject, I think. And to be able to put it into a fun format like this really makes learning it that much easier and that much more fun. So it's a great way to do it. Have you had any luck with it as far as winning?
Yeah, when I first designed it, I was winning all the time, and because I knew it the best.
Right.
But then I stepped away, and I enjoyed more watching other people play it, and it also taught me, little foibles in the game that I could correct and adjust. So I prefer to watch, so to speak, when the game is being played because
you get a lot of good ideas that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
On how to improve it, of course. Yeah. Fascinating subject. And do you think it's helped you learn astrology more? I mean, obviously going through the research of the signs and the planets and the elements and all that.
Absolutely. When I was younger, all I really knew was that each sign had a planet and an element, and that I knew that, but I didn't know much more than that. So in putting this together, I learned a lot more.
So it's a great tool for learning astrology, especially for younger people or students or anybody who's interested in astrology. It's a great way of deepening your knowledge of astrology and understanding the interrelationship between the signs, the planets, the elements. Those are all key pieces of what astrology is all about, so it's great to be able to merge them all together into a fun format. And I encourage you to play it. I have not played it myself yet. I will report back to you once I do, and hopefully I will win, but if I don't, I will be a gracious loser, which is not easy for an Aries to be, second or third, but I'll do my best to be objective about it.
Yeah, don't throw it across the room.
I won't. No, I won't. I would never do that. But I've got 3 boys, and one of my sons, my youngest son, is very into astrology, and he's about 28 years old, so I think he's going to really love it. He'll spread the word to his friends. He'll probably buy a copy. He'll probably chip in. So anyway, that's great. And is it going to be available in stores as well, or just only online?
At the moment, my plan is only online, because this is really the first step to understanding how popular it might be.
Yeah, you want to get an idea.
Yeah. So my goal immediately is to do the very best I can for the backers, make the best game I can, the best quality, and for me as well. I mean, I would not be happy. I'm a Leo. I would not be happy if I wasn't proud of this game.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So I'm doing the very best I can.
Do you have any way of sort of an elevator speech for somebody who wanted to know more about this?
It's fairly short. Zodiac War is authentically based on astrology, and it also includes a complete deck of tarot cards, including the 22 major arcana and the 56 minor arcana. The major arcana are based on the meanings during a reading of tarot, but adapted for the game, to make it work in the game. And the minor arcana are designed in this game as being the workhorses. They move the board.
I see.
The goal is to align the board so that it's fully aligned with your sign, the planet and the element, so you can buy star crystals. The star crystals illuminate your sign, and the signs are competing to have the brightest constellation in the sky.
I love that. It's such a cool idea. Really is fascinating. I think it's just a fascinating way to learn astrology, to get deeper and more knowledgeable about it, and to see the way the signs interact, the elements interact, and everything else. So I think it's fascinating. There is no sort of predictive quality in what you come up with in the game, is there?
Predictive quality?
Well, in other words, there's no horoscopic quality to it. If you roll.
Oh no, it's as you can imagine, I cannot predict what day you're going to play the game, or or who with, or where. So no, there's nothing like that.
In other words, if you had the sun in your sign on that day, if it was your birthday, for example, would you be more inclined to win?
Well, maybe astrology will say you are, but
yes.
The game would.
The game would, yeah, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a fascinating idea, and I'm so glad that you're able to bring it to fruition. It's quite a project. It's one thing to know astrology, another thing to design a game, another thing to make it accessible for all ages and for people, and to make it fun, which I'm sure it does all of the above. It's a beautifully designed game.
The challenge was very much that, because in my experience, particularly working over the last 4 years, I am dealing with 2 different groups of people in making this game. We have the astrologists who are very spiritual and kind and friendly, and not necessarily competitive. And
they are. They're very competitive with each other.
Well, that's and then you have gamers, and they're all logical, and they are obviously competitive because that's the nature. So bringing the two pieces together has been fascinating for me. But the good news is, as you correctly say, astrologers just love the idea.
I know many astrologers. I've interviewed hundreds of them, and I'm sure they're all mad that they didn't do this first.
Yeah, I have quite, several hundred followers of this game for quite a few years now. They've built up over the years. As I was saying earlier, I think astrology is such a rich theme for a board game. There's so much structure to astrology as well, yeah.
And there's rules, and there's compatibilities, and connections, so it's just fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can bring those together onto a board, then you've cracked it.
Absolutely, by all means. So that's going to be fantastic. So I think people should go to Kickstarter.com and enter the word Zodiac, or just Google Zodiac War, and you'll be able to get to the Kickstarter campaign that way. I encourage you to do this so we can keep this game afloat and keep it going further, because I think the next version might even be deeper and better. Who knows? If you have that plan.
Yeah. What I envisage is, for example, the tarot deck would be more comprehensive in terms of artwork.
The artwork is beautiful, by the way.
Yes.
It's a beautiful package. It's a beautiful package. It's got a nice board, richly colored. The cards are nice and sturdy. Everything about it is top quality. So you're going to get a very good product here if you decide to buy it, which I encourage you to do.
Oh, and Chris, the version you have is a prototype. The final product will be much better.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I know what I'm giving for Christmas this year.
I know what I'm getting for Christmas. Getting these out to people.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a couple dozen versions of it. And I have an art gallery. I'm going to start trying to sell it in the art gallery as well.
I have a good deal for retailers.
Okay, good. Well, I'll talk to you about that offline, and we'll figure it out. And I think it'll be a great thing. My shop that I have is an art gallery. It's called Blue Star Gallery. It's opening up in April, and I'm an artist. I draw mandalas, and it's all circular, and so I hope to, and my shop is all based on astrology, art, and spiritual adventure. So I hope to be able to push this game out and get people to play it, maybe even in the store on an open table. Have like a coffee shop version of it on the table and get people to come and play.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea for a shop.
Have tournaments. Well, I hope so.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by those types of shops where you can wander around and see all these spiritual and mystical things.
Right.
It's I don't know if you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where they had that magic shop, and they had all these great items in that shop. I always wanted to go there.
You sound like you're English to me, and there is a shop in London called the Astrology Shop. I'm not sure if you know about that.
I don't think I've been there, no, but I am English. I'm from Manchester.
Oh, okay. Man, you.
Yeah. No, Manchester City.
Oh, you're okay. Well, I should have known that. There's a real competitive there. And you're from Florida, so you took our quarterback. I'm from Massachusetts.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And he actually won the Super Bowl for us.
Well, I could have told you that. Actually, I was rooting for Tampa Bay because of Brady, but,
Yeah, because, we're not talking about astrology here, but when I first came over to the USA, it was in 2002. And the next year, the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. And then a couple of years, I came back to Tampa, and the Buccaneers have won the Super Bowl again. So I must be lucky.
Yeah, you're a good lucky token. So I've been fascinated with astrology. As I said, I was about 18 years old, working in Boston, and a woman started work that day, was brand new, never met me before, knew nothing about me. And she asked me if I knew my birth coordinates, and I did. So I gave it to her. And then a day later, she came back with 6 pages of handwritten notes about who I was. And I said, my jaw dropped, because I said, this person knows more about me than my mother, my father, my girlfriend, anybody. I was just amazed at the depth and perception that she came up with. And ever since then, I have been hooked. And that was 40 years ago. So.
Yeah, since designing this game, a lot of astrologers have been talking to me about my chart and about me, and I'm sort of going, "Oh wow, really? That's pretty cool."
It all makes sense. It makes sense why you're doing what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, it's like.
I mean, Leos are very creative people to begin with.
Right. Well, I'm an engineer, so yeah, this is pushing my pushing my creativity.
But it's actually it's a perfect marriage because you've got the science part and the art part, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So, the science part is the degrees, the angles, the signs, the elements, all those characteristics, and then being able to homologate that and into a interpretation is where the real talent comes in.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's so being an engineer is a good thing, I think, in this case. But I really would encourage you to do a Google on some of these astrology conventions and get out to there and get yourself pushing this game, because I think people are going to be in love with it. I think the astrology world has been thirsty for this for ages.
It'd be good if I could get them to hear about it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm doing this. I think people need to understand what's going on and how it all works. So I'm talking today with Paul Starr, and he is the brainchild behind Zodiac War, which is a fascinating game using astrology as its foundation. And I think you're going to find it a lot of fun to get together with friends and play this game and see who can win and how and why, and then you'll all understand more about astrology as a result. Wonderful side benefit. So, I appreciate that. You're helping all of us. Well, you're helping the astrology community in great ways, because this is far better than a book. You can sit down with a book and figure it out. And there's plenty of cookbooks that are out there, which say if you have this planet, this sign, this element, and all that, and if you have this and that, you get this. Those are out there. They're plentiful. But this is a different way of learning. This is a fun way to learn astrology. And I could even see a college course designed around astrology using this as its baseline to get people started. Maybe you ought to go to the local community college and try to do that.
Yeah. I've had some people contact me about the game who don't know anything about astrology and saying, I'm buying the game because my daughter loves astrology, and by the time I finish playing it, I'll know all about astrology too. So.
And then they'll know why they get along or don't get along.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, my hat is off to you now it is. My hat is off to you. My hat is off to you because I'm wearing a beanie because I lost all my hair due to chemotherapy, folks. So you can't see that online, but in the audio, but that's what I did. So, Paul, anything else that you can add to this subject or talk about that you want to bring up, except buy the game?
Well, there's not much else to talk about, but of course, my campaign is running until the 25th of February.
Oh, so it's coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so after that date, it won't strictly be available. So if you want it, and if this appeals to you, then I do urge you to go to Kickstarter.com, have a look at it. And there's a lot of information there. You'll see the art. You'll see how the game works. There's a few videos that show the gameplay, and you can make a decision whether you like it or not.
I think you will. It's a beautifully designed, well-crafted, high-quality product. The materials are very sturdy and strong, so it'll last. And I think you'll all enjoy playing it. It's really going to be a wonderful way to learn and expand your knowledge of astrology and have fun at the same time. So, again, Kickstarter.com, Zodiac, or Google Zodiac War, and you'll find it that way. And keep this game going, because it's a great asset to the community, and it's a wonderful way of expanding this broad subject, which can be very complicated. That's why it's good to have a way to learn it that's fun. So, nobody said astrology was easy to learn. People get very confused by it. And it's got a lot of weird sort of stigma attached to it. You know, they think, oh, it's woo-woo. You know, what are the stars doing today? It's not that simple. But there are complexities there. There are themes that recur. And everything is cyclical in nature. And we go around, and if something happens again, and a certain alignment happens again, a theme will recur. It may not be that you're going to win the lottery, but you might get a bill from somebody that same day. So the theme is the money there. That's how astrology works, and it's fascinating to be able to find that and interpret it. It is a great tool for relationships, a great tool for career planning, for life planning in general. So anything that you can do to learn more about it will help you broaden your mind and expose yourself to greater and deeper subjects that we are not all aware of why they work. People ask me this question all the time. Why does astrology work, or how does it work? And I always say, I don't know. I just know that it does work. And we don't have to have the answer. So it just works. So
yeah, and it seems that, you know, when I talk to astrologers, they seem to have all the right questions. You know, they look at the chart and they go, oh, so were you not very well last year? Or, you know, well, no, I wasn't very well last year. How do you know that?
Well, this year in particular has been very difficult because we had that major stellium of planets in Capricorn. We had Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, all in Capricorn. And it certainly wreaked havoc on my life. I had to sell my house. I had to move. I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So everything came crashing down. But when things come crashing down, that gives you an opportunity to build again and reform and reconstruct, which is wonderful. Because when you reconstruct, you start with a renewed sense of vigor and purpose. So absolutely fascinating. So you've got until February 25th, and then what happens after that?
Well, after that, I start working to make the game.
Version
Obviously,
2.
The game's designed. I'm sorry?
You start working on Zodiac War 2.0.
Oh, no. First of all, I have to finish Zodiac War 1.0.
Okay, all right.
So, but what I mean by that is that I then need to actually have the game manufactured and distributed to the backers. That'll be my first.
And that's where the
task.
Kickstarter campaign comes in. So, folks, let's get this game off the ground. Not that it isn't already, but let's get this game off the ground and support him, Paul, with this fascinating. I'm glad somebody finally threw their hat in the ring and took this project on, because it's sorely needed. It's a great way for people to. It'll be easier for astrologers if people understand astrology. They won't ask so many dumb questions. And so it's better for them to know how it all works. So again, Kickstarter.com, Zodiac, or Google Zodiac War, and you'll find the game there. And I encourage you to kickstart it and get this thing off the ground. It's a fascinating subject, a fascinating tool, and a fun way to learn, which was what we all want. And board games are back. It's winter. We can't go outside. We got to be inside because of COVID. So gather your friends around, wear your face masks, and charge on, as they say.
It is the golden age of board games.
It is the golden age of astrology as well.
So it's a perfect synergy.
Your timing is right. You must have consulted an astrologer about the timing.
Yeah. Actually, I was told it's also Mercury retrograde, and actually having the Kickstarter right now would be challenging.
It might be challenging, yes, but Mercury retrograde has an upside to it as well. I mean, there's also wonderful things that can happen. Sometimes it's just miscommunications, but those can be resolved. A lot of times it brings stuff to the surface that needs to be brought to the surface. And I think having this game, if you played this game with your spouse or your partner, you might be able to flesh out some ideas between the two of you that need fleshing out. It's a good conversation starter, if nothing else. So, fascinating idea. Anyway, Paul, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I really encourage everyone who's out there to seriously look into supporting this project. It's a wonderful project. It's one that's long overdue in my book. So let's give it a good kickstart. Let's give it a slam start and really get it off the ground. And I look forward to seeing you at one of these conventions, because I'll be there, and maybe I'll challenge you to a game sometime. Aries versus Leo. We're both fire signs, so we should have quite a bit of sparks flying.
A fiery encounter.
Yeah. Sounds good. Anyway, Paul, thanks so much for coming on today. We've got to sign off now. But again, one more time, Kickstarter.com, Zodiac, or Google Zodiac War, and you'll find it there as well. Let's get this show going. Let's keep this game up and running. It's a wonderful asset to the astrology community. I can speak for the community that we are very grateful you've done this.
Well, thank you.
Because it makes our jobs easier in some ways, because it helps people understand the logic and the precision and the timing of astrology is incredibly accurate, which is why we all love it. So, thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much for coming on today. Kickstarter.com, Zodiac, or Google ZodiacWar.com and see what you come up with, and just keep it going. Buy 2 or 3 games and see what you can get. All right? All right, very good. All right, keep calm and carry on. As who says that? The Queen, or who is it?
That's a British saying.
Oh, it's Winston Churchill.
Yeah, it might be.
Okay, all right. All right, very good. Well, thanks so much for coming on today, Paul. I appreciate it very much. And again, Kickstarter.com, Zodiac, or Google ZodiacWar.com, and you're going to be delighted with what you get. It's a well-crafted, well-designed, beautifully illustrated, colorful game that will delight everybody who plays it, I think. So let's keep the show going. All right? Okay. Very good, Paul. Thanks so much for coming on today. Be well, and good luck with version 2.0 or wherever.
Thank you.
And try to get it into a digital format. So if people could play it on their phones, they would be like 2 people playing one side, you back and forth. That can be done in software.
Yes, we can.
It may be more than you want to take on, but it can be done.
Yeah, we can.
All right, very good. I've got to sign off now. So take care, my friend, and thanks so much for the game and all you've done so far for the community, and good luck with your Kickstarter campaign. Once again, folks, I don't want to sound like a broken record, even though I am. Kickstarter.com/Zodiac or Google Zodiac War and get this thing off the ground and up and running once and for all. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you. It's been great talking to you as well, Chris.
Very good. All right. I'm going to sign off now, and hopefully we'll see you on the front page of Time magazine someday, or at least on on the front page of Mountain Astrologer or another astrology magazine. There are magazines that you could reach out to. There's many more astrologers that are far more prominent than I who would benefit from learning about this as well, and I'll do my best to spread that out there. Many people will hear about it through the podcast, but if you need help getting more names or people who are more prominent in the field or any other connections between the community, let me know, because I've been doing this for a long time. I know just about every astrologer on the planet, and some that are not on the planet. So, all right, very good. I got to sign off, Paul. Thanks so much for coming on.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Turning of the Wheel with your host, Chris Flisher. To schedule a reading with me or to order artwork, you may visit my website at www.turningofthewheel.com. That's www.turningofthewheel.com. Or you can call me at 978-393-1036. Thank you. And as always, be open to possibilities.